All right, cool. Thanks for hopping on today for Making Multifamily Money. It's a more intimate session. So I'm just going to talk about recession resistant real estate and why apartment complexes fall into that. And then afterwards, I'm actually going to talk to Charmaine about her 35 unit apartment complex. So just briefly, there's four recession resistant commercial real estate that I like to invest in. I currently invest in two out of the four. So the first one is apartment complexes. Um, and the reason why for apartment complexes, and I have a graph to show later, but if you look at the rent growth from 1940 to 2020, it's been constantly always going up. So, if you value apartment complexes, the value is based on net operating income divided by the market cap rate. So if your rents go up, the apartment values go up. So when we look at the chart later, if rents have gone up for the past 80 years, that means apartment complex values have gone up for the past 80 years, right? So, um, like the big crashes were 2000, 2008, and maybe most recently when COVID first started, a little bit. But if you look at the data, the rent growth always went up, right? So what's telling me is in 2000, in 2008, in 2022 or 2020, apartment values have gone up because the value of the apartment complex is based on the net operating income, which is how much rent you get. So if you increase your rent, you increase your NOI, you increase the value. So, like to me, that's why it's recession resistant. And if you think about it, like if you can't afford to rent a single family home, where do you downsize to? You're going to downsize from a single family home to A class apartment complex, which is 15 years old or less. If you're in in A class apartment and you can't afford that during recession, you go to a B class, which is about 15 to 20 years old. If you can't afford a B class and you downsize, you go to a C class, which is greater than 20 years old, right? So that's where my apartments are C class. They're usually like 1970, so 50 years old. So what's nice about C class is you know that attracts workforce housing, right? It's affordable housing, workforce housing, and that's where the value add opportunity is, right? So I own 46 units of apartment complexes in Oklahoma, and I'm renovating off or maybe half the units in two apartment complexes. And how I make my money is when I finish renovations, so it'll look like an A class apartment complex. I'll increase the rents, maybe about 150 to 200 per unit. And then now, after I did that for 26 units, I've almost doubled the value of my apartment complex. So, just running some numbers here, um, I bought a 26 unit apartment complex for $500,000. Gross rent day one is $10,000 a month, but I'm renovating about half the units, about 13, for about $8,000 per unit. So that's a new kitchen, new flooring, new paint, new bathroom, new light fixtures. Pretty much, a simple make ready. But I can raise the rents from about 350 to 750 to 700. I just rented out one of my renovated units for 700. So I basically doubled my rent, right? So if you double your rent, you double your NOI almost. You double the value of your asset. So I got it for about 500,000, and after I'm done with renovations and raising the rents, conservatively, I think it's worth 1 million. I think actually, realistically, it might be worth about 1.4, 1.5. So that's triple the value, right? So that's what's nice about C class apartments is you can do huge value add, and then you can significantly increase the value. Versus when you buy an A class apartment complex, it's really hard to do some. You can't really do much, right? It's just more of like, okay, did I raise the rents a little bit? Did I charge for parking? Maybe charge pet rent? It's a little bit more simpler. So that's why most people start off in C class apartment complexes, and that's why they're recession resistant, right? Because like it's basically the cheapest apartment you can get, right? If you want to rent. So that's why I really like apartment complexes. People always need a place to live, and there's a trend amongst millennials, so people like my age, where they don't want to own a home, right? They just want to be mobile. They want to pay rent. So there's definitely a growing renter demand, and single family homes going up in price. and interest rates going up, and home prices are pretty similar. I mean, at least in California, they haven't really gone down, but they really haven't gone up. They just kind of stay stagnant. But with interest rates being 6-7%, it's almost unaffordable for a monthly mortgage payment. So a lot of these people, they're good renters, right? A lot of people want to rent and they can't afford a home. So that's the first asset class, apartment complexes. The second one is mobile home park, which I own. And so what's nice about mobile home parks is you own the land. So I owned 55 acres in Alabama, and so homes. There's two types of homes. There's park owned homes, and tenant owned homes. So park owned homes is it's just like a rental, right? So I own the home as the owner of the land. So I own the land, I own the home, and I'm gonna charge you rent. So, for example, in Selma, Alabama, I rent out my 2 bedroom, 2 bath for about $500, and they just pay me $500, and that includes the home rent and the lot rent. So that's what they pay me. I own the home, so if they leave, I have to fix up the home and then rent it out again. And then the other model, which is more popular, is called the tenant-owned home. So the tenant, they own the home, right? So they maintain the inside. If something breaks down in the home, they'll fix it, they'll repair it, and they pay me something called a lot rent. So they basically that's just the lot rent to place their home on my land, and then that covers their water, right? Because I cover the water as a landlord. So in Selma, Alabama, the lot rent's about 200 to 250. So that's kind of the high level view of it. And what's nice about the tenant owned homes is less maintenance, right? Because for me, I don't have to maintain it. It's theirs. You have pride of ownership, and it's hard to move the home, right? Like if they want to leave, they just can't. It costs about $5,000 to take their home off the land and move it somewhere else. Versus an apartment, like when my lease is up, I just can leave, right? I don't have any skin in the game. So that's why people like investing in mobile home parks. But just kind of at a high level, my park, it's a huge, heavy value add. I have about 35 homes there right now. About half I own, half tenants own. And then, I'm fixing up a lot of these homes that are vacant currently that I own. So I'm fixing them up and I rent them out. But actually, next Monday, I just placed an order for 2 brand new homes, and they're going to come be delivered next Monday. And my goal is I want to rent out those homes. So I got 100% financing. So that's what's crazy about mobile homes. It's $40,000 to bring a 3 bedroom, 2 bath mobile home. I have 100% financing through my lender. Interest rates around 8%. So it's a little bit higher in mobile homes, but the funny part is it was always 8%. Like even when single family homes were like 3%, mobile homes were always 8%. So it hasn't really changed. So basically, I'm bringing these homes. I'm going to bring in renters, but my ultimate goal is if I can attract the good enough renter who's paying me for 6 to 12 months on time, I want to get them uh, qualified with 21st Mortgage to buy the home off of me, right? So basically, they would get qualified for a loan. I'll help them get qualified, right? I'll help them build their credit score, you know, whatever it needs to take. And then once they qualify, they buy the home off of me. So they pay off my loan, and I might make a little bit of money. So let's just say I'm all in for 4,000 or 40,000. Usually you do a 10% markup, so it's about 45,000. So I can sell the home for a $5,000 profit. So that's $5,000 per home. I'm going to take some of it. Obviously, I have to pay the lender some, and then my property manager gets a commission. So maybe at the end I get $1,000, but at that point they'll just pay me $300 a month in lot rent, and it becomes a lot more passive. So that's how you scale, right? So I can bring these homes, sell you the dream of rent to own. So my model is rent to own. So you're going to be a renter, but we're going to work towards you becoming a homeowner, right? And the reality is a lot of these renters, they don't have the homeowner mindset. So they'll rent with the hope of being a homeowner, but to be honest, what I heard is maybe 20% of the renters will actually convert to homeowners. So if I have 10 new homes with 10 renters, maybe only 2 will actually become homeowners. So that's kind of the strategy I'm trying to do. And I'm actually partnering with Section 8 so that they'll come in, they'll pay me rent guaranteed. And in about 1 to 2 years, when they reestablish their homeowner program, Section 8 will actually pay for their down payment as long as the tenant qualifies, for them to encourage them to become homeowners. So that's what I'm trying to do and partner. So I'm trying to get a lot of Section 8 tenants inside my mobile home park right now because number one, I know it's guaranteed rent. And number two is eventually I want to convert some of them to homeowners. So that's what's nice about mobile home parks is, so let me give you some reference points. In Selma, Alabama, to rent a 2 bedroom, 1 bath, it's $800 a month. But you can own your own mobile home, 3 bedroom, 2 bath for $800 a month. So that's affordable housing, right? Like if you cannot afford a mobile home or $300 in lot rent, you're basically going to be homeless. So that's what I really like about mobile home parks, and why it's recession resistant. So it's a nice model. I'm doing it, but I'll be honest, it's a lot more work, right? Like I got my mobile home park for $1 million. If I can fill up this park with renters and homeowners, right now I'm about 40 homes out of 200. But if I can bring in, so I'm bringing in 2 homes a month for October, but in November I'm going to bring in 5 homes a month. And if I can rent those out or sell them, that's how much I'm going to do. So in a year, it's 60 homes. So in a year, I'll be from 40, I'll be at 100. And then another year I'll be at 160, and then another year I'll be full. If I get that park full, I bought that mobile home park for $1 million. It's gonna be worth 10 million, right? So it's definitely a little bit more advanced, a lot more work, a lot more headache, but basically one deal is all it takes to retire. So that's why a lot of people who invest in apartment complexes, once you have that foundation and that cash flow, then you can move up to mobile home parks where you can kind of focus more on forced appreciation and forced equity. So that's what the big players do, right? So I kind of jumped the gun a little fast. Like I should have waited for my apartments to kind of stabilize, get me cash flow, and then at that point buy a mobile home park. But I kind of dived in head first, bought 2 apartment complexes in the mobile home park in a year, right? And all these are value add. So that's number two. Number three is self storage. So self storage, I do want to get invested in, but because I'm just doing so much right now, I don't want to overextend myself. So after my apartments and my mobile home park stabilizes, I probably will. Well, honestly, I'll probably buy some more apartment complexes because it's easy, but I do want to buy self storage. And what's nice about self storage is that it's very easy. If you think about self storage, it's literally 4 pieces of metal, right? There's no toilets, there's no tenants. People just store their junk there, for lack of a better word, right? So let's just say I lost my job during a recession and I need to downsize from a single family home into an apartment. I need to store my furniture somewhere, right? So I'm going to pay for self storage. Another thing is people, e-commerce is very popular now, right? People buy a bunch of junk. A lot of people hoard. I'm a minimalist, I'm reverse, but a lot of people like hoarding a lot of their junk. They want to store their RV, they want to store their cars, they want to store their boats, whatever they want to store, right? So they store it in self-storage. And the funny part is, let's just say it's $50 a month, right, to store your junk. If I raise your self-storage fee by $20 in the next year, so it went from 50 to 70, most people are going to be like, it's too inconvenient. I don't want to go there to move all my stuff. I can get a truck, take all my stuff out, and move it somewhere else, right? So they'd rather just pay the $20 and whatever, right? It's not going to make or break you during a recession. So, so what's nice about self storage is, number one, it's low. It's basically no tenants, right? Number two, you can automate a lot of this stuff, right? So there's a software called easystorage.com where you can automate your customer service. People can pay online, and they can create a website for you, so it advertises your self storage, right? So it's pretty passive, but you do have to set that program up, and you have to have automated gates so that people can open it. Um, but at a high level, what's nice about self storage too, it's just like mobile home parks, where if you buy self storage with like 1 or 2 extra acres of land, then you can basically build more self storage units. So that's a huge value add component. Or like what I've seen a lot of self storage investors do is, let's just say you have a lot of land, you just can put gravel on the floor, paint some lines in, and now you have boat storage or RV storage, right? Or you can build a little carport, and then you can just, people can park their RV there, the boat there, pay you $50 a month to park their RV and boat. And believe me, if you can afford a boat and RV, you can afford $50 a month, right? So that's how you increase your value add. So like what I was sending mailers out to self storage at one point, and this guy had like 1 acre of extra land, And my plan was to build climate controlled self storage. So that's the indoor one. But in the interim, as that's being built, I was gonna lay gravel out so that I can bring in boats and RVs. Right. So that's what's beautiful about it. And so yeah, for all real estate, self storage included, you want good location, right? Location. If it's a growing area, you want to be there, right? So in self storage, you do something called a feasibility study, which is what you pay a third party, and they'll actually do a market analysis to see if there's a demand, if you can raise your rents for self storage and all that stuff. So that's what's really nice about self storage. And like I said, I want to jump into it, but I don't want to have shiny object syndrome. Like I want to make sure I'm successful first, but I do want to do self storage because I just heard once you go there, um, you don't go back. So to get the deals, so it's like similar to what I teach in the course, Charmaine. It's the same letters that we use, but I get my data from dataaxle.com. So it's not PropStream, it's DataAxle, and I actually have some criteria on getting that. So how to target your audience for mailers and self storage. So I'd be happy to share that with you if you're interested in doing self storage, but down the road. But it's kind of hard for me because I haven't done it myself, so I don't really like teaching unless I've done it myself. But that's just kind of at a high level when I did some research there. And then the last one is industrial. So industrial is where the gray-haired people invest in. So these are the older people who've made it, and it's like triple net. So triple net means that so a warehouse building is, let's just say you have a big industrial warehouse building, and let's say Amazon rents to you, and it's triple net. So they pay everything. They pay the electricity, the property tax, the property insurance, everything. If there's a repair that needs to be made, they pay for it. So it's the most passive form of real estate. Um, Compared to mobile home parks, self storage, and apartments. And for the most part, if you buy with a good tenant in place like Amazon or FedEx, whatever, like it's easy money. And what's nice about industrial is that as I alluded to before, e-commerce is very popular, right? Like people don't want to go out and buy stuff, especially during COVID. People want it to be mailed to them. So Amazon needs distribution centers. Walmart has Walmart Plus, which is like Amazon. So they need distribution centers. So they may lease your industrial warehouse. And it's very passive, right? You literally do nothing. You get mailbox money, and it's great for bonus depreciation if you need tax write-offs, right? So how I kind of describe it is, apartment complexes, self-storage, mobile home parks, they require the most work, but you can force a lot of appreciation, right? By doing value add, right? So mobile homes, it's bringing in homes. Self storage, it's doing RV boat parking, building more climate controlled units. Apartments is doing renovations and raising the rents, right? So those are the most amount of work, but you can get the most equity. But with industrial, it's the least amount of work, but it's more mailbox money. It's more of a tax write off, but it's the most passive, right? So like for me, eventually if I own like whatever 200 apartment complexes and 200 units of mobile home parks, at that point I'll probably be retired and I don't want to do as much work, right? Maybe I want to focus on my personal life, whatever. At that point I might buy industrial real estate. So it's kind of a progression, right? So the progression is apartments, you go from apartments. Once you do it, or you do single family homes, sorry, and then you do apartments, and then you do mobile home park slash self storage, and then eventually you end up in industrial triple net. So that's just kind of the progression of life in terms of real estate investing. Um, so yeah, that's just kind of a high level overview of recession resistant real estate. I'm probably going to do a deeper dive on all four of those types of properties on my YouTube channel. So please check out my YouTube channel. Eventually, I'll release some videos on those topics. But other than that, any questions besides the ones I've answered already? No, if not, I'm gonna bring on Charmaine here, who's actually full disclosure one of my students. But at a high level, Charmaine started off with single family homes, and she quickly in a month got a 35 unit apartment complex. So I just want to kind of have her share her experience about her 35 unit apartment complex. So you can take the floor now, Charmaine.
Yeah, so when I was in California, my husband and I were looking at really 2 years ago, we started investing in Las Vegas. And so we really see how much people moving to Las Vegas really like Las Vegas, and we always think and we're hoping to.
Yeah, no, awesome. No, thanks. Let's kind of take a step back. I guess how long have you been investing in real estate overall, just to give people a sense?
So I invested 2 years ago with this in North Las Vegas, and then we got very stagnant. We didn't really invest it after 2 years. Not till lately we've been consistently looking, talking to investors, doing meetups, and trying to educate us as much as possible. Then we just got the triplex and
Okay.
then really jump into this 35 units
So,
um, within months.
so how many units do you currently have between everything?
So I have altogether 39.
39. So you started in 2020 essentially during COVID?
Yeah, 2020, and then just one
Wow.
property. And then I didn't do anything after 2020. And then just within months, I've been very active.
No, that's and then just for some context, I mean, 39 units, 40 units in 2 years is very fast, right? That's not normal. For me, I've been doing it for 5 years, and my first 4 years, I had like four single family homes. But keep in mind, this was California, where each one was a million, right? But then recently I scaled to 90 units, but. Okay, and just for some context as well, like, do you work a W-2? Is it just you and your
Right.
husband? What type of
So I work as an IT professional in a healthcare environment. And so my husband is a real estate agent here in Las Vegas.
Mhm.
And it's really, as a real estate agent, it's really hard.
It is.
It's really hard to make sales right now, most especially, a lot of people are scared
Yep.
buying homes with skyrocketing rates right now. It's really hard. And so, really, the income is really just mines plus the property. So, really, have to be hands on with this investment just to make sure that we have positive NOI and all that stuff.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So, kind of what I want to emphasize from your journey is that, so basically you just started with, some homes in North Las Vegas, and once you
Mhm.
built up equity, so this is your primary residence, I'm assuming, and then you took a HELOC out because it's easy to take a HELOC on a primary residence, right? You have better rates. I think right now you can't even do it on investment properties. And then you took that equity that you built up over time, so you did nothing besides live there, and it just went up, and then you leverage that to buy a triplex in out of state in Ohio, where it's cheaper, right? The price is probably cheaper. The rent's about 1,000 each, and now you have cash flow, right? So you're cash flow positive from that one. But then at this point, yes, you need lightning in a bottle, right? So that's when you went to multifamily, and yes, 35 units. I mean, it's pretty big. We underwrote the deal. I underwrote the deal with you live, and I think it was like around 750, which is really amazing for 35 units, right? Like in California, where I'm at, you can't even get a single family home for 750. And you
Right.
get 35 units, and I remember when I analyzed the deal, like the numbers were really good, right? My only concerns were, as you mentioned earlier, just the crime and the population. But I said that you have to talk to your property manager because they know more than me, right? I'm just looking at numbers on a spreadsheet, and it seems like that's exactly what you did, right? You reached out to a property manager. You know, it's probably not many, right? All small towns are the same, right? Like I own my my mobile home park in Selma, Alabama. The population is 20,000. Everyone knows everybody, right? So like I'm literally inviting like the mayor, city council to my mobile home park to see the new homes, because I want people to start talking, right? So that's the advantage of a small town, is once everyone knows, then word spreads fast, right? And maybe people want to rent to own. And like you said, they do everything, right? Like same with my property manager. They're also a broker, property manager, everything. They're great. They know everyone, but maybe paperwork, they're not the greatest, right? Like sometimes they'll send me their documents on paper. I would talk to contractors. They do everything on paper. Like they literally write on a piece of paper, send it to me. but it's kind of, you talk to your boots on the ground. I'm not sure. Did you do due diligence on this? Did you do full property inspection, or did you just go in?
Yeah, yeah, that's another thing too. We didn't do the full inspection. We just went by,
Word,
but
a word.
word by word. But I'm just glad that, according to the property management, because he did the due diligence for
Okay,
us,
perfect.
and literally unit by unit, and I think it took him several days to do that.
Oh wow. Did
Um,
you pay him,
yeah,
or was it
I'm
free?
sorry.
Did you pay him for that, or
Oh
was it
no,
free?
no, I didn't pay. I mean, because
Oh, he's
since it's our
nice.
first time, we just asked him to do that. He wanted to know himself too, because he's also fairly new property
Okay.
management there, so he know what he's getting into. And he gave us pretty much a long email what's going on, and he knows each and every,
Nook and
name
yeah.
for each unit.
No, no. So I like that because for reference, it cost me $7,000 to inspect 26 units. So a 35 unit, you're talking about $10,000, right? But what's nice is at the end of the day, when you hire a third party inspector, your property manager has to walk all the units anyways, right? I usually invite my property manager there during the inspection, but if they can do it on your behalf, even better. So it was nice that he was able to walk in, check it all, tell you what needs to be repaired, and also meet the tenants, right? Because you're going to take over, he's going to take over, you're the new owner. So it just puts a name to a face. So no, that's good. And as long as he took some photos and maybe he did a Skype with you, I mean, honestly, like that's what I did for my second one. I just paid someone to do it, but that's pretty much what it is. And it seems like you bought the property so well that maybe if you have like to replace the roof for like $30,000, I mean it's gonna suck, but you're gonna make that money back once you've refied. So that
Right.
sounds pretty good. So
Yeah, and I don't know if I told you too that, we just moved to Las Vegas December, and I'm
okay,
from the Bay Area. Um, so we I sold my property pretty high price in the
oh,
Bay
okay,
Area and
yeah,
moved here. And in December, right, we bought our property here in Henderson.
hmm,
Well, I live in Henderson. Um, Pretty good price, so equity is really high, and we could have. I mean, pretty much all our savings is from there.
yeah. No, it's a
um,
retirement. It's I mean,
yeah.
what city in the Bay Area?
So I live in, Eden Shores in Hayward.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So it's close to,
I'm
how do you call
familiar.
it? I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh, you are?
yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah. I'm
Okay.
I'm from the Bay Area.
Oh,
So
that's right.
I
That's
used to
right.
work in San Leandro. So yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So just for some context, like the average home in like Hayward, it's probably like 1.5 ish, I'd say, for like a single family home. So like people knock on California single family homes. Like I own a single family home. I own a couple in California, and I'm cash flow negative like $200 a month on one of my single family homes in Livermore, but it appreciated from $800,000 to 1.3 in like 5 years. So that's literally
Mm.
$500,000 of equity that one day if I want to sell it, I can trade up to an apartment complex in Oklahoma, right? So
Wow.
like, and like you said, it's a retirement, right? I could literally just sell it, take 500,000, and like buy a house cash in Henderson for probably 500,000, right? That's
Yeah,
probably right. So
definitely.
that's what people are doing. That's why they're moving. I assume you have a remote job, so you can do that, right?
Right,
um,
right.
so that's what people are doing. But that's what's nice about real estate is that like you just give it time, right? I literally did nothing. I just bought this home, rented it out. I used to live in it. I was renting out rooms. I moved out, rented out the whole house, and I was like negative $500 a month. But I lowered my rate during the interest rate crash when it went down, and I broke even. But I'm still made negative $200 a month. But like the appreciation is so crazy, right? So it depends on what your goal is, right? But the problem is I'm trying to retire early, so it didn't give me cash flow unless I sold it, right? And I'll take all the money. So, but yeah, that's nice. So overall, I think you did do due diligence on it. At least you had your property manager, spend a day, and Now you're giving me FOMO. Like, "Ah, I should have taken that property." That's kidding.
Yeah, I mean, we just, I feel like it's kind of like luck. I don't know.
Honestly, it's in the course I teach off market deals, right? And the deal that you just got, like I was like, this feels like the similar deals that I got. Like that's how off market deals should feel like, right? But that's not typical on LoopNet. And yeah, I mean sometimes it just takes one deal, right? Like you got lucky one time and now you own 35 units, right? And now you have a property manager in there. You can scale in that market easily. You just send some
Yeah.
letters out, and your property manager will probably bring you some deals, right? Because he manages other properties. So, um, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
there's other deals that, because I have connection with them, and there's other deals like 20 minutes away
mhm.
that is 12 units for 475,000, which is, I think it's really good price.
Yeah.
And each unit is 1,100 square footage, so it could have been almost a house. It's 3 bedrooms, two baths, and we could have done it like about 750 or 800 per unit. And there's really good city next to it,
Hmm.
really close by, which is Batesville,
Mm.
that has a lot of jobs, and
Yeah.
they could
Yeah.
have been go in there to just rent a property because it's a lot cheaper and it's bigger. Um,
Yeah.
so something to think about it.
Mm.
Not sure yet.
Yeah. I mean, like my downfall a little bit was I kind of scaled. I mean, 9 units in 1 year, right? Essentially, and I'm doing heavy value add, so I kind of regret that a little bit. But for you, I think yours seems very minimal, right? And then it seems like you're gonna honestly when you cash out refi with a new lender, and you can still use my lender I gave you for your cash out refi,
Right,
right? Like
right.
it's not like they have a non-recourse product, so it's not you're not personally liable for it. And it doesn't
Hmm.
count against you in terms of your debt to income ratio. So you can get a quote from them. I have two. No, 35 is a little too big, but the lender I gave you can do that. But what's nice is like sometimes like you could literally pull out your all your down payment. Like how much did you down again? 25% was it?
No, I only put 18% down.
Okay, so 18%, which was how much? Like around
Uh,
150? Was that 150
I think
or close to 200
um,
maybe?
I think less than that because
Yeah.
I bought this property for 745,000.
Okay. But one well the concept I was trying to hit was like,
Or one
dude,
thirty
like
four.
after
Yep,
you
130.
renovate it, and let's just say after a year you raise the rent and you cash out a refi, you might be able to pull out like most of your down payment. And you basically got this apartment
Right.
complex for free. And like that will negate everything else that all the risks you took, right? Like you could literally take all that down and then take that money and then buy that 12 unit that's nearby, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
like,
true.
so that's what I'm saying. Like what yes, you took some risk, but I think you took a calculated risk because you knew that, hey, if we had $50,000 of repairs that need to be done or $100,000 of repairs that unexpectedly came, like you have the reserves for that. Financially, you're pretty stable, right? You're still working your W 2, right? Humble enough to work your W 2 while owning 35 units and not much renovation, right? Because renovation is what kind of throws you off a little bit. And you may have some expense there, but like yeah, like you kind of hit a home run on your first deal, and that's how you scale. Like you said, I think it's better than my first deal. I'll be honest. So no, that's
Yeah, I will
impressive.
keep you posted. But thank you so much for everything. You've been very helpful, and I know the curriculum. I haven't finished it yet, but it's very very helpful. I'm very thankful. I'm very happy that I joined.
Yeah, no, it's funny because like the most successful people are the ones that take action with very limited information, and that's basically what you did. Right? And that's what I did too for my mobile home park. I literally bought that mobile home park, and while I was under due diligence, I was learning about mobile home parks. That's what I literally did. So that's the trait that made you successful. But what's nice about having the course is that now that you own it, you can now obviously learn the curriculum and then know how to better manage it and learn between your firsthand experience, but the course you can learn how to manage it, but then also improve for your next one, right? So that's the
Right.
key, right?
That's
Like I made mistakes too, right? I made mistakes on my 90 units that I bought, but when I buy my next one, believe me, I'm gonna be better. But I'm still gonna make a mistake again, and I'm gonna learn from that mistake, and then that's all it is, right? So you with the course, you're just kind of learning from my mistakes, and then I'm not sure if you went how many property managers you interviewed. I interviewed like 20 to find my one.
oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, you might just hit lightning in a bottle, and like you can kind of tell from their vibe, right?
Right.
Like who you like and who you don't like, and it's give and take, right? So what I preach in the course, it takes about 3 to 6 months to know if property manager is good or not, right? So like
Okay.
you'll know if he's garbage or he's good, and let's just say he stops communicating with you. He's very late and things don't add up. Yeah, they could be stealing from you, right? I mean, that's easy to steal from us, right? We're in California and they're in like Mississippi, Oklahoma. So just that's probably the number one thing that made you successful was just doing it. And if honestly, if you hold the property long enough, you will be successful. So um, overall, thanks for sharing your story there, Charmaine. That's all I had for this week's session. Once again, this will be recorded and uploaded onto YouTube. But before I end, any last questions from anybody? Only about two people here.
Sorry about that. I think I lost connection
Oh
there.
yeah, no worries, no worries. I was just wrapping up because I got about 3 minutes left, and
Okay.
no. So Lisa, for your question, property management, they only charge about 4 to 10% of the gross rents, so they don't take any equity in the deal. From my experience, and I think from Charmaine's experience, so I pay my for my 26 and my 20 unit, I pay about 8% to property manager. But I guess what you're referring to is like let's say you work with like a mentor or coach, or like maybe you have an equity partner that's giving you the money, then you split the money 50%. So let's just say, for example, if my property manager, I brought in all the money to buy the apartment complex, and the property manager is doing the property management, then we might split 50% of the equity, right? So typically, property management, it's only a percentage, and for the contractor, you just negotiate a flat fee, right? So I'll say, give me a quote. It's going to cost me whatever. So my 20 unit, it's $100,000 for renovation. I got quoted that, so I pay them $100,000. I don't give them any equity in the deal, so that I make the equity, right? So my end goal is I take out my down payment and my renovation costs when I do my cash out refi after doing the value add. So hopefully that makes sense for that there, Lisa. And I have a video on my YouTube channel talking about property management more specifically. So if you check it out, I'd be happy if you shoot me an email. I'm not sure if you have my email, but I can send you a link to my YouTube channel. I have a whole session talking about property management there. So um, overall, thanks for hopping on, and thank you, Charmaine, for sharing your story. I think I want to bring you on again as your thing progresses, because you might finish yours before mine, and I've owned my apartment for about a year now, so slightly jealous. I'll be honest. It'd be nice to finish one. But yeah, no, I would love to keep in loop, and I'm thinking you're gonna make money. Like you're gonna pull out like a good chunk of your down payment, to be honest. And especially if you raise the rents in a year, you definitely will take out your whole down payment. So you'll be teaching me soon. Um, uh, so great. Thanks for hopping on and sharing your story. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thank you so much, Stephen.
You
Good
too.
night.
Good night.